firelight flickered and a rush of wind glided gently, twirled merrily round, causing sparks to fall golden on the sidewalk. I momentarily forgot the impending disaster in the wood. It became evident that I slipped away to a different place, a fathomless depth filled with a great many voices. On the verge of crying, the depth of my heart listened to the chorus of voices. Despair seized them in the dark. Their feet failed them, and they all came crashing down. Remains of the feast blackened. Their future sent to die away, quite deafened by their cries. Tranquility was much disturbed. Sadness settled down immovably. I concealed my face, turning shy. Little comforted me, because I remembered nothing more. The recurrence of these mental terrors darkened life on this little earth. I narrowly escaped instruments of torture. Blood sank crimson into the water. My fortunate soul, almost without thinking, knew my power and helped lift me up in the air. Thanks to this inspiration, I've come a good deal further on a hard path. But my mind drills to destroy these memories. There's practically nothing left. It's clearing a space, living backwards, longing for goodness and happiness. It sharply inflicted a long argument.
We must make our little sacrifices. Venture into places that don't contaminate our purity. Vainly try to shut out the strange and sorcerous, corrupt scenes, unsatisfactory people. Are you not satisfied with my experiment?
Ha 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 ha. No possibility.
Life will become a beautiful success.
You mean an insignificant existence? I began to remember suffering hunger and cold, falling flat, soul and senses quivering. But I conquered cheerful words, and my spirit rose. Embraced my bitter tears, and promised myself a fine day. My spirit never came undone. When darkness disturbed my peace, Satan found plenty of mischief, capturing and killing large numbers of people at once. But angels were commissioned to guard us in all kinds of fastness, and with maternal instinct. That night, their light came and baffled my comprehension like the dreams of a night past. Their hands were full, their hearts were ready for more, and their determination stronger than working muscles. This was a delicious dreamy feeling, a tender recollection of being helped by the wise. I remember their words, meaning packed up. They rankled in my soul, shattering my hopes. The most disagreeable part was a child with natural temptations to resent and retaliate. The result was sudden deaths and judgments. The child darted away, to escape detection when he cracked his skull. I had no sympathy. Bright eager eyes, an independent spirit, rotted and fallen. Judgment would warn passion, but he didn't take any further notice. He decided many careers by beginning the blaze, but he shared indifference, and couldn't help smiling. Hear me hoping against hope that his destiny hadn't raised up to cause a great deal of trouble. This place had not advanced. I was surprised at the circumstance, which looked doubtful. A little personal disappointment began to spring up in a frame of mind. I lingered onward, moving toward departure, guessing a direction until I crossed a sheet of ice, which started to melt away, a matter of the fire's expediency. All in confusion, I glanced up. There was a voice beckoning to me impatiently. My answer was inaudible. Getting near, heat stifling his breath, he trickled down the slope and pulled me up without effort. Closely huddled together, I feared to meet his eye. Uncomfortable at the silence, I found significance in trifles. Then he carefully explained the child's slavish notion of inferiority in a discontented tone. The child flattered himself, watching and waiting until smoke and darkness filled the air, then watched us navigate something like an uncomfortable sleep full of horrible dreams. He didn't request an explanation. The angel was just concerned for those so uncertain on their feet. No crutches, stumbling over roots and stones. My immediate apprehension suddenly vanished. Let's talk about the day that will come when our reliance on corrupt powers will suddenly dwindle down. In that light, old age will bring few regrets. Under no enchantment of power, there would be a different mold to the majority. So many injustices would get out of our way, tumbling flat to the end of their argument until they had been reduced with an odd sort of pleasure. Justice thoroughly explored and entertained the intention. What if everybody obeyed? They'd do well to imitate this true tale. Why then should memories die? We must have perfect faith in our powers when sinking is low, to perhaps overcome, to remember departed days of plenty, and use our courage and our hope to purchase liberty. This shall wake you to a new and glorious day. You are burdened with faults that shall be forgotten, but we must call upon our memory to do our growing together. My dear overstimulated brain, let's think in chorus, unconsciously giving and receiving, make alliances and engage in cheerful mingling. I am quite pleased, altogether splendid, now that we've considered the meaning of these heavy, unwelcome thoughts. I don't mean to bear them, but there's nothing else to do. My first impulse was to knock down your argument, but I'm afraid it's impossible. You can imagine that sense must resist delirium. We'd lost our way. But you reminded me of our promise, that we must forgive, even with a sickening sense of disappointment and streaming eyes. According to our rules, we must make an effort to remain loyal.